Hello, I'm MPX Toycat, and ancient debris is Minecraft's rarest and most sought after ore. People mine it because they want Netherite, that's for sure, but something you might not know is that it's actually significantly rarer than both diamond and emerald ore if you want to try and find it, because diamonds can spawn in veins of up to 8 as opposed to just 3 for ancient debris, and emerald ore can be found in a specific biome in the overworld, however, ancient debris cannot. Also, you know what, I tried to use a spruce tree system like Extreme Hills, but that didn't work so well. However, there is one key thing that you can have an advantage of when it comes to ancient debris, and that's the fact that you're here in the Nether, and there's some mining techniques you can really take advantage of that you can't in the overworld, and also they made one critical change during the snapshots and development phases that made this significantly easier to find in a way that other ores just don't work, and I want to explain both of those things to you using today's video, and explain how you can get ancient debris in the best way possible. So let's start with the very first thing, the basics, the important thing you're going to need, a pickaxe. A lot of people might think like, so what enchantments are we going to need to get here? Honestly, as long as you have a diamond pickaxe of some form, because that is required to mine these blocks, it doesn't matter what enchantments are on it, you don't need silk touch or fortune, neither of those will even help you in this case, you just want efficiency if you can have it, and ideally some unbreaking, because you're going to be breaking a lot of blocks here in the Nether. Because did you know that ancient debris spawns between 1 time and 5 times per chunk? And you might be thinking like, on average? No, I mean every single chunk has between 1 and 5 blocks of ancient debris, and this is something you could take advantage of because using that perfect distribution, we know that the best layers for it to spawn on, because it can spawn between layer 8 and 119, but there's a huge bias towards layer 15. This means if you're willing to mine down, which is usually not a good idea, and an even worse idea in the Nether, down to layer 15, this is the best, way for you to find some ancient debris. Again, I really recommend not digging straight down, but as long as you can get your Y coordinate to 15, which if you're on Bedrock, turn on show coordinates, it's very easy. If you're on the Java version, things are a little bit harder, you have to press F3, but basically you need to find layer 15 on your Y coordinate, and then you need to mine there like you would mine for any other ore. This is because ancient debris just spawns as a certain percentage of the blocks in a chunk, and again, you're not guaranteed to find any at layer 15 in every chunk, but if you mine in one direction for a long enough time at layer 15, you're bound to come across some eventually because of the distribution, nature of this thing. This is a really interesting kind of change, and it makes it very different to diamonds, which are like, oh yeah, there's a few most efficient layers. No, when it comes to, ancient debris, this is just most efficiently found at layer 15. There's no questioning it. So the best thing to do, oh, there we go. We found a single block this fast. It is a very, very rare thing. Again, it spawns on average 1.7 times per chunk. This means for every 10,000 or so blocks in a chunk, only 1.7 of them are ancient debris, but because we know the best place to find them, we can utilize this technique and we can find some right there. If there's nothing else you take from this video, if you just want to take the very basic thing, it's that at layer 15, you will find them the best. This is how you find ancient debris. It's wonderful. It's a nice thing. You can take these home. You can smelt them. It's always worth looking around the few blocks around it because sometimes they spawn like that. But if you just use this simple technique and know nothing else, oh, there we go. There's a second piece of ancient debris. If you know this simple technique and nothing else, you can go quite far. However, this video is not just about how you find ancient debris slightly better than someone who's digging blind. This is about the best and the fastest ways of digging ancient debris. So how exactly can we find it even faster than that? Bear in mind, all I did was dig a tunnel about 30 blocks this way and about 15 blocks this way, so 45 blocks in total. And although there was a little bit of luck involved there, the fact that it was possible at all in an entirely random world is kind of mind-blowing, right? So let's talk about what we can do next. Because mining endlessly in the same direction until you find some ancient debris, you can do 1x2 tunnels, you can do 2x2 tunnels. If you really want, you can do 1x1 tunnels. But like mining at this layer seems like it's the the simplest thing you got to do. If you got a pickaxe, you probably can do that, and eventually you're just going to run across enough ancient debris. But the real tips are in working out how the Nether actually works, and in taking full advantage of that. So first of all, there are caves found at these layers, and these caves seem like they're useful, like they're on the overworld, but there's one key difference of these caves that isn't true in the overworld, and that is that ancient debris can never spawn touching air. Never check the surface. If you find a cave, don't think to yourself, I'm going to look around this, maybe I'll find some ancient debris. Ancient debris can never spawn touching the air, just like this. You always have to mine at least one block to get it, and this is where the second part of this strategy comes in, and that is when you find a cave, or even if you don't, I mean, it's just like a useful way to use the beds in Minecraft. You can take advantage of the fact fact that sleeping doesn't work in the Nether to make giant explosions that only require 3 wood and 3 wool. That's right, if I, blow up this entire cave, which I can do by placing a bed right over there, place a single block between me and it. It can be as low blast resistance as the Netherrack, and even with just a... Oh, there we go! Again, I swear, this wasn't all set up before this video, but that is a proof of how successful this strategy was on this entirely random seed we're playing right here. We found another ancient debris because they can't spawn facing the cave. They can't... Oh, there's a second one up there. Oh my god. They can't spawn facing, the cave. They can only, facing the air of the cave, but they can spawn a single layer below it, which is why if you come across a cave that you don't need, you're just in ancient debris mode, you might as well come through here, and then once you put out some fires, of course, you might as well come through here and take full advantage of the ancient debris which you can find around here. Again, I really would recommend being careful about putting out the fires before doing this, but yeah, we found 2 veins, they're probably just 1 each, but 2 veins of ancient debris in 1 cave, because again, this cave spans multiple chunks. I reckon if we made some more explosions, we could find even more of that. So I'm gonna get rid of this little lava flow first, because that's causing me a lot of pain. I'm gonna grab this ancient debris and see if it's just 1 block or if it's maybe got some more. It's just a single block. You know, how unlucky of us, right? Only 3 ancient debris in the matter of, like 7 minutes I've been going with this video. But yeah, basically, when you're at layer 15 in a cave, this is a perfect time to use a bed, which you should have a lot of, or bring some wool and bring some wood to the Nether. And then you can use these beds. Again, always eat first, just in case the worst thing happens. Place the bed down, place a block between you and the bed for explosion protection. Again, if you're playing on a decent difficulty and you have armor, you should be mostly protected anyway, but it's always a good idea just to have a little extra protection. Then you make a giant explosion, and a lot of blocks reveal themselves, some of which might be ancient debris. That second explosion wasn't as lucky as the first, but this is an amazing way to mine much faster than you can with a pickaxe. Again, a pickaxe seems like it's the best way, and in the overworld, don't get me wrong, TNT mining is slightly more effective than using a, pickaxe, but it's not really something most people consider. But in the Nether, bed mining, because beds are so cheap, even if you don't have farms, you just need a sheep farm, really, and then the ability to chop down some trees. These things are so effective here in the Nether that you might as well. And this doesn't just apply to caves. It's obviously most effective in caves, because that's where you can get the biggest kind of explosion for the, the biggest bang for your buck, I guess. And just as we've proven right there, here is my 4th bit of ancient debris in this video. This incredibly rare ore that is hard to find. There's another one, by the way. But also, if we just go mining through the wool, again, at layer 15, this will actually apply anywhere you are, as long as you're at this layer in the chunk, because this is where you've got the best odds of finding it. And therefore, if you go down somewhere and then you want to place one of your beds, you do the exact same thing. You can even be sneakier here if you want to, like get to the very edge of this distance. Then you can look around and you might just find some ancient debris. If you don't, you move on to the... Oh, we found a free ancient debris right here. Look how fast and easy that was. Finding ancient debris can be very easy in the Nether. I've got some insane luck with this video, I do have to say. I'm very happy with that luck. But it is a efficient technique that allows you to find things successfully. So mine at layer 15, and if you want to up things, which you definitely do, bring some beds with you. The amount of time it takes you to get some beds versus the amount of time it saves you is amazing. Again, it doesn't go about saying that, like, yeah, turns out just a single explosion which is made that easily is really quite handy compared to the amount of time it takes you. There is obviously a huge risk in that you're lighting explosions and then you're getting lit on fire most of the time you do this, so do keep that in mind as we say this, but it is, in my opinion, something worth doing regardless. Also, something worth doing regardless, here's a nice little thing we found as a result. Here's a cave down at Bedrock layer. You cannot find ancient debris at these layers, even though it seems like it would be down here. It's found between layers 8 and 182 roughly, 119 roughly, sorry. And therefore, but yeah, again, the best odds are around 15. So if you're looking down here, it might be fun to do, but it's not effective if you're looking for ancient debris. If you're looking for ancient debris, I'm sad to say that right now, the best thing you can do is to stick to this mining at layer 15 over and over and over again until you get what you're looking for. However, that's what I would describe as the best technique if you want to get ancient debris. It's the most practical, but again, on this channel, practical isn't the only consideration, I will assure you. So let's talk about something you can technically do if you're prepared. And I want to be clear, this is something you should only even attempt on easy difficulty because again, the Wither doesn't do as much craziness on easy, because what I'm going to recommend right here sounds very crazy on the surface, and definitely is, but it's a fun way if you want to go mining in the Nether. I'm messing this one up today, huh? But it's a fun way if you want to go mining in the Nether, perhaps, to take things up to another notch, because all you have to do, if you're not incompetent, like I am right here, all you have to do is make yourself a Wither boss, just like this. Is it the blocks around it, maybe? I wonder why the Wither will not spawn. Let's try one more time. You know, it was probably the blocks around it. Because I recommend that you try to fight the Wither. Except by try to fight the Wither, I mean let the Wither explode, which, by the way, she does a massive explosion. Like, seriously, from here, if you surround her by Netherrack, it's a giant thing. And second of all, although she tries to go upwards, which is obviously kind of a downside, she'll also try to fire these explosions at you. And these explosions, as you can see right here, will destroy a lot of Netherrack in their path. This is really handy because it means that as long as you're prepared enough to deal with this, I've just got iron armor on, by the way. As long as you're prepared enough to deal with this, you've got some backup food, you've got some provisions, you've got a way to actually kill her when things go crazy. You can let her explode and do her stuff while you go mining around, by the way. I am mining around. I should probably get a little bit higher up. I'm mining around, and I'm letting the Wither do some, you know, like, mining around me. And the way I'm letting the Wither do that is by making sure she can always see me. And again, it's a super weird, super dumb kind of feeling thing right here. But as you can see, it is an effective way to both you know, like both explosion mine and do this regular mining at the same time. It means you don't have to keep crafting beds because, hey, there's a mob that does that for you. And although it definitely has its downsides, it also has the upside of being able to spawn as many Withers as you like in if you really want to. You can try and get some gas trap down here for the same logic, but if you want to, you know, if you want to explosion mine more effectively, spawn in a Wither, and then, you know what, why not spawn in a second one as well? As long as you can deal with the horrors that come out of it as a result, and I cannot. That has been that has been concluded. As long as you can deal with the horrors that come out as a result, you can, in fact, find some ancient debris this way, and it's theoretically one of the best ways because you can multitask. Again, in reality, most people get very anxious at having a Wither explode at them non-stop. But personally, oh, there we go. We just found some ancient debris, and as you can see, even the Wither's explosions are not going to destroy this because it has one of the highest blast resistances in the game. No matter what explosion, modded or not, you throw at it, it's not going to be destroyed. Also, we actually got a second one exposed by the Wither herself up there. There is a second ancient debris in the course of this video, which has been about 15 minutes of real game time. I have found myself 6 ancient... Oh, wait. No, I had a couple on me. I found myself 11 ancient debris. I think I had 1 on me. So I found 10 ancient debris in the course of just 15 minutes. And if you stay focused and if you're not goofing off to show people why they should use the Wither, you can use these techniques to great effect. So, just to recap, what's the best way to find Netherite in Minecraft? The simplest way that just requires a tool, doesn't require any real risks or any real... you know, danger is just to mine in a straight line. You can double back on yourself every now and then, and you know, you can kind of mine out the entire thing, just like this, assuming there's no gravel above you. You can kind of double back on yourself, but if you just mine in a straight line as fast as you can at layer 15, you'll find yourself some, you know, some Netherite, you'll find yourself some ancient debris eventually. If you want to up the game, you can bring some beds with you. Obviously, you don't need to color these, but, you know, red beds do have a big advantage, and you can start exploding stuff and hoping that helps you out, and a lot of the time, it will. And then if you want to up your game even more, why not bring a Wither to come along with you? Because it is a automated way of making explosions as long as you stay near that Wither yourself, or at least there are mobs near it. Again, it tends to cause a lot of explosions in your Minecraft world, which is generally considered bad, but is sometimes a good thing. Before we go, I want to talk about something that I really thought would make a difference, and in my testing, like, it makes a very, very, very small % difference. But something I thought would be a way bigger idea is the fact that we know Netherite, the ancient debris, tries to spawn once or twice per chunk with veins of 1 to 3 and then 1 to 2. And therefore, like, you should be able to use the fact that once you find ancient debris in a chunk, you can move on to another one because statistically, there's not likely to be much more in that chunk, if any. However, in reality, I find the much more simple technique that's easier to do than working out where a chunk ends and begins is just to mine in a straight line as fast as you can. Ignore the chunk bound. Like, you're going through so many chunks, you know, a minute at this point anyway. Like, okay, right now I'm, you know, 1888. And, you know, if we go any further than this, you'll find how very quickly, assuming we actually can get through them, you can see how we can go from 1790 to, it would be like 1806 to be a full chunk over there. We can be that, you know, done with a single chunk in literally 5 seconds. And therefore, the best simple tip is to try not to double back on yourself too much, because if you do double back on yourself, you will generally, once you've found ancient debris, be going over less fertile grounds. Do we find a single... Okay, no, there's a whole vein of soul sand down here. But yeah, that's my simple tip I want to say, is that it seems really useful to know where the chunks are, but the only thing it should affect you is saying that you should go in a straight line, and then if you come back, you should try to, again, it's not the biggest of difference, it's only a few percent, but if you want to be the most efficient, which is what this video is all about, you want to go at least 16 blocks between your mines, unlike branch mining for diamonds, which goes like, you know, this, and then you mine the 2 blocks to the side, or 3 blocks to the side, and then so on and so forth. Unlike that, which is what you want to do in the overworld, in the Nether, the chunk boundaries do matter, and therefore each of these tunnels should be 16 blocks apart. So if this was a tunnel, I should go all the way over to here, and then I should start doing the exact same thing. Also, try to be at layer 15 the entire time, or at least layer 14, because your head will pop into layer 15. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the simplest, you know, my testing so far has just indicated that the simplest thing to do is to mine forward real fast and to bring some beds if you can. And if you want to be fun, bring the wither with you too. So yeah, if you want to see me mine a bunch of ancient debris because, you know, this is fun, but wouldn't you love to see a whole live stream of it? That's a thing coming real soon on this channel. Toycat mines an absurd amount of ancient debris because that's how you enjoy the Nether update. For real, I really do enjoy mining, and I think it's cool that we finally got, we've got an ore in Minecraft, which is rare and can be only obtained through mining. I love that. You might think that like, oh, it's dumb that you have to go mining, but it's cool. There's finally a good reason to get back to this, and personally, I like that. And if you don't like that, then I reckon that means that you're the sort of person that I don't like. But if you are the sort of person I like, why not consider liking this video, or perhaps subscribing so you see more of these daily on your homepage. I never thought that we'd see a return to the great form of, you know, mining, but it turns out when I insisted that mining was only getting weaker, I was never right any of the times that I said that. And yeah, that opinion really seems pretty ancient right now, huh? But as it turns out, the Nether update was absolute fire, and that is why I love this update a lot, and we'll be doing a stream of it somewhat soon. Thank you very much for watching. I got myself a bunch of ancient debris today, and you can too. Goodbye.